Hi everyone! So today for our last video in the series of 3, we will be going over some extra tips and tricks, primarily dealing with the extensions that come with the OpenStudio plugin. So going to the extensions bar at the top and then going to OpenStudio user scripts, you can see a whole list of different types of extensions, from just editing different components to creating geometry to different rendering modes and viewing styles. There are a lot of different tools that you can play with here. And so first I'm going to showcase the wall to window ratio tool. So this is a tool for making windows besides just like the typical just making a rectangle on a surface. So rather than doing that, we're going to go back to the extensions, alter or add model elements, and then go to the very bottom to window to wall ratio where you can input the dimensions you want, whether or not you want the offset above the floor or below the ceiling. And then once you press OK, it makes a window. So this is a great tool for making a lot of windows for many different spaces rather than having to do separate rectangles for each. And on the other end of the extensions, you can have those that create geometry. So like those that create standard building shapes. So for example, a courtyard, you can enter different dimensions, different number of floors, stories, a lot of different customization options. And OpenStudio will generate an entire geometry for you. This could be useful depending on your project, depending on the geometry of your project especially, or just creating a template for you to play with and for you to learn off of. And using this template, we will use another extension called the Add Photovoltaic. So this is great for you adding any PVs or any solar panels. So again, you can add your specifications there using the extension, and then it creates a nice and easy PV for you. And if you want it to be a certain area, of course, you can go into a space and just create your own lines, depending on where exactly you want the solar panel, and then you can just, again, use the extension to cover that entire space with a solar panel or PV. So jumping right into another extension, we will learn how to edit the thermal zones of spaces. So as you can see here, we have two spaces corresponding to two thermal zones, thermal zone 1 and 2. And for here, we want to actually split thermal zone 2 into two different spaces, so then we can assign it thermal zone 2 and thermal zone 3. So to do that, I'll start by using the old-fashioned way. I will delete half of the space. As you can see, it's divided into two rooms, so that was fairly simple. And then so now we have just two spaces, so I'm going to add a third space so we can add that third thermal zone. And similar, and as always, I just create a third geometry, a third room. And then now I define it with the thermal zone 3 thermal zone. And so as you can see here, we now have 3 spaces corresponding to 3 thermal zones. As you see, it wasn't too much work, but especially doing this on a building scale, it could add up. So that's why an extension for doing this could be handy. So now using the extension, we have the similar scenario, and what we will do is select the faces of the geometry that we want to move to a new surface, or sorry, a new space. So we go to the extensions, alter or add model elements, then we go to move selected surfaces to a new space. So with this tool, since we did not select all of the faces, we did not select the internal surface, the new space will actually be missing a side. So you can just add that side in using either the rectangle tool or deleting a line from one of the edges and then re-adding it back in. So as you can see now, we have 2 separate spaces from that one original space. And another geometry generation tool is the one found in the on-demand template generators. So if you go to the control wizard, you can find the different building types you can choose among. You can also see that the space types and then the construction sets are already fully defined. So you have a lot of different options there for creating a default model. And on the side of debugging, there are a few helpful extensions, one of them being remove orphan subsurfaces, and the other one being clean up origins. And these ones, especially dealing with a full-scale building geometry, will help you clean up some of the spaces and surfaces you are dealing with. And other debugging tools are the extensions for finding spaces by different space types and thermal zones. And of course, this can be used in conjunction with the search surface tool. Depending on what you're exactly debugging, this will help you find any problematic surfaces or spaces. And if you go to the Show Errors and Warnings button right next to it, you'll be able to view all of the current errors and bugs in your model. And that's all for the video. Thanks for watching, everybody. And if you want some more supplemental resources, there are some videos on YouTube by the Helix Energy Partners LLC that I'll link in the description that are a great resource for using the OpenStudio application.